Everyone, it's Nick with Us versus Herd. If it's your first time here, you like the content, hit subscribe. If you want to get notifications when we go live or post videos, tap the bell. And if you want to join the UVH fam, links are below to our Discord along with our free options trading group on Facebook. Just trying to get things going here. I'm actually running a little late. So I'm going to actually post this video in our Discord real quick. Okay. And I'm not even, okay. Yo, Keith, what's going on? If you're here right now, say what up. All right. Just getting organized here. So, yo, reworks, what's going on? So as you can see here, just getting 23 minutes ago, Trump, CNBC News article, CNBC, Trump says China trades are going very well. And you can see here, SPY, S&Ps are up about a point and a half or so, point and a quarter. President Trump said, did he like tweet this out? Was that the... I don't know where exactly he said this. Just trying to figure out where they get their information from, because I know that he doesn't talk to them. He doesn't talk to them directly. President Trump said Thursday talks between the U.S. and China went well as the world's two largest economies try to end a damaging trade war. Yo, JJ, what's going on? How you doing? Two sides. So, you know, the market, the market. I mean, if you look at yesterday, I mean, the market yesterday tanked because, you know, the Chinese saying no progress is being made, delegates are leaving early, and here we are. Oh, just kidding. Trump's going to meet with the Chinese tomorrow. Talks are going very well, and here we are. And it's just been this whole cycle. Yo, Starman, what's going on? You know, for me this week, it hasn't been a big losing week or a big winning week, or it hasn't really been a big week in general. I've pretty much been scaling back my trades because I knew regarding the amount of noise and the algos and everything that I wasn't going to perform very well. You know, for me in the markets, I perform better when I have a target and I have a goal. But when it comes down to like the news and it comes down to the media and it comes down to politics, and if you're leaving your trades up to a coin flip, I'm not the best trader when it comes to, you know, it's a 50-50 chance, kind of like, you know, Brexit or any of this trade stuff, or like even like the election, like 2016 elections, like, oh, the stock market's going up because a new poll shows Hillary's going to win, and then, you know, stock market went down because Trump's going to win. A poll showed that, and then Trump did win. Futures were down big, and then they rallied the next day. And, you know, in terms of the trade war, there's a lot that has to come together, and so far in the 18-20 months or 2 years or whatever we've been in this trade war, nothing's come together. We've just pretty much only increased the risk in terms of the tariffs and the trade war, and really escalated the whole thing here. You know, if we're looking at my trades today, you know, didn't have big wins, didn't have big losses, was just kind of second guessing myself most of the time. You know, my biggest loser was Roku. I do have some SPY puts that are probably toast if trade talks do go well, because that's the thing. There's the trade talks can go well. Like the trade talks can go well, and you know, we maybe go to SPY 300 tomorrow. You know, it's following. Okay, if you're here right now, say what up. But kind of going into some of my trades. So I did have puts going into yesterday. If anybody watched my videos from last night, I had the 138 put on Microsoft, and I had the 162.50 put on Alibaba. And as you can see here, I got out with a small loss on Alibaba today, $27. Realized loss today, I'm down $40, which isn't big. However, I'm more concerned about my execution and how the trades have been going. Yo, Michael, what's going on? Brad, Grant. I'm more concerned about the execution, and I had like a lot of knee jerk reactions during this whole week with all the news, all the algos just ripping it down, ripping it up. We had Fed news this week. I think it was just overall difficult, and it was hard to pick a side. And even if you had, technical indicators and stuff like that, support and resistance, you would find that it was difficult because it was putting pressure. And even if the pressure was very short lived, it put a lot of pressure in your positions, and you close them out and then it rip back down, or whatever the case was, rip back up, whether you had calls or puts. Looking at you know what's going on. So Netflix, I'm gonna go through my trades for today. What is he doing? What is he doing over there? Can you get him to like quiet down? Sorry, guys. My son's playing in the room next door, and he's being extremely loud. So he's playing with his minions, and he's just going in. He's going in. But yeah, I closed Microsoft, Alibaba, had some small losses on there. BBBY was my first trade of the day that I put on. I bought in for, this is like the only good trade that I did today. I bought in for 27 cents, sold it for 43 cents. And on BBBY, as you guys know, I don't know if I did have in my video last night, they got a new CEO. It went up, almost 30% at one point. It was like 27%. Closed at 21%. I played the fade here. I got in at 9.17. So right in here, I got in a little too early. I got in on this bar right here as it was going down, but I held on because my stop was like the 1266 area, and it was just making lower highs. So we kept making lower highs until he bottomed out down here, and I sold it at 1146, which is normally I don't time the bottoms that well. I was actually shooting for 1150. Good thing I didn't hold to 1150, because that position would have been ripped for me. BBBY, the 12 puts, I had 3 of them. The 12 puts were then going for 22 cents. So I bought them for 27 cents, sold them for 43 cents. And you can kind of see here. Actually, I'll put it on here so you guys could watch SPY while we're working here. But I mean, these were as low as 10 cents today. I sold them at like 43 cents. The high of the day was 47 cents. So that's pretty good. But that was the only trade, and I think the reason why I traded that very well was due to the chart, the 1 year chart had a breakout, and I was thinking it was going to fade or it could rip, because right now we're kind of in nowhere land. It could have tried to close this gap. It tried to close this gap here from like 12 to 13, which it had like a couple of quarters ago for earnings. It gapped up, tried to close the gap here, but it just it closed the gap on the downside, but trying to close it to the upside, it didn't close it up in here. So I was pretty much trading the fade on that. I didn't want to be too greedy. I did take 50%. Yo, Tan, what's going on? Just going through my trades, going through my failures this week. Do you have any recommendations for resources to learn how to analyze the stocks? Grant, I am. There's a lot of resources on YouTube. I am working on that myself, so that way I can provide you guys some more value as well, kind of like support, resistance, other technical indicators that you may want to use. I don't use a whole lot of technical indicators because I find that as time goes on, it creates a lot of noise. But I mean, there's a lot of traders in here that do use RSI, MACD, that kind of thing. So but yeah, I'm with E Excellent. I rely on the price and the volume. So, going back to when you're not seeing the market clearly and you're having winners and you're having losers, it always causes you to really evaluate, you know, what you do well and what you don't do well. And for me, what I've realized in this week or two is that I don't do well when the variables are not defined. So, during earnings season, so that's why I'm kind of excited about earnings season. During earnings season, there's a clear definition, there's actual numbers, there's actual data. Is a company doing well? Is a company doing poor? How is the market reacting to those numbers? And everything's on the table. The one thing that I realize that I don't do well is trading into the unknown. So, and what I mean by that is there a deal? Is there not a deal? And all this stuff relies on two people sitting in a room agreeing or not agreeing. And in terms of you could say, hey, just trade the price action, but it's not that easy when you're just trying to trade the price action, because I mean, as you saw today on like SPY, we were moving up, and then we were kind of leveling out here, and it was looking like it wanted to spike up, and then all of a sudden we went from 293.50 all the way down to 292. I mean, it's insane, Yo, Keith, thank you so much. Thanks for the $25, man. I did put together. There were a lot of people asking me for quite a while, over a year. I kind of pushed it off, how they can support the channel and on another level. And I did open a Patreon, which the link is in the description below if you guys are interested. No pressure. We're still gonna make the videos whether or not you contribute. But some people felt the need to give, and I definitely appreciate you, Keith. Yeah, good old gamer, learned a lesson. So, I think in all of this, if the numbers are not defined, if things are not defined, don't trade it, because me trading into the unknown, I don't get the best results. Some people are momentum traders, and they can do that. They go with the momentum. And, as a trader, you have to understand what you're good at, what you're not good at. And I had, like this week, I have scaled back my position sizes. As you guys see, I've scaled back. If you look at my previous videos, I've been trading a lot bigger lately, but I've scaled back my positions incredibly this week. But I still came out with a $40 loss, But if I was keeping my position sizes the way they were, I'd probably be down like $400, So I have been trading. I have been actively trying to trade, but it just hasn't been panning out. So that's why I lowered my risk. Probably should have just taken 2 weeks off and said we'll come back whether there's a trade deal or not, and we'll trade the aftermath. And that's the other thing is, I probably should have known that because of earnings trades, the way that I trade earnings trades. So the way that I trade earnings trades is I trade the stock after the report comes out. I never trade beforehand, because I've spent a long time. I have made trades before earnings, and honestly, it only worked out like 10% of the time, versus when I traded after hours. If I traded stocks after hours, after earnings were released, I had, an 80-90% success rate of making money. And, really, you just needed to define what you're good at, what you're not good at. And I find it that it's easier for me to trade when there's more data available versus a tweet or a news article. Nike, Nike was a little bit dangerous. I made a little bit of money here in Nike today. Made like $10, and I'm glad that I took the risk management that I had. I did put, this is a very, very choppy trade. The market is very choppy, super easy to blow up your account right now. Don't hold options overnight. Trading earnings equals coin flip trading. Yeah. Yeah, excellent. I'm with you on that. I was actually, so on Nike, I had at 937, I bought the 93 put, because I thought that we were going to break down. It started to make lower highs here. None of this really existed. I started to make lower highs here, but it just didn't want to break. I bought it at 937, so right on this candle here, and I sold it at 959. So I sold it right before this candle opened, and it ripped up, and I made $5. But those options you can see here on Nike. Nike has been making decent money. It just, I was shorting and the market was ripping on this one. So I bought it for 65 cents. It hit a low of 43 cents when it ripped up here. So I bought it at 9.37 for 65 cents. So right here. And then I sold it for 70 cents. It hit a high of like 74 cents. So I barely got out in time. And then it ripped up. So thankfully I was able to get out of that trade, even though it was just a $10 gainer. But I saw the writing on the wall where the market was trying to rip up its second leg here. And really, this is when the market was trying to, right here on this candle here on SPY, was going to try to rip up. So that's why I got out of that trade. What time frame did you use? Starman, 15 minutes. Could you give us your thoughts on ATVI? Yes. Yes, I can. We can make it happen. I know Blizzard's been under I don't know if you want to call it scrutiny, but they've been in the news due to the way they've been handling the Hong Kong protests. And I liked it that it bounced off here at 50. Not so much here. We needed to really break out above 55 if you want to go long. I'm not really loving this trade right here. I would have loved it more at like 50 here, where it bounced, because this is some support back in here, some support back in here at 50. But there's not much room for it to go between 55 and 57. It's really been struggling. So DD1, what's going on? So for me, I think it would be a little tricky trade. Do they have earnings coming up here? So they don't have earnings till November 6th. So they're not going to have much of a I feel like they're not going to have much of a catalyst until next month. So we'll see what happens. Take a look at the 2-year chart on the S&P, and you can clearly see the last 4 weekly candles. The market is going down. Yeah, so Ray Lee, I normally don't do this, but I did it. I am holding 2 SPY puts going into tomorrow for $2.91. Paid $1.05, down a little bit on them right now. Probably going to be down more if the trade talks go well. But on SPY, what I was looking at, I was really looking at the ceiling not being breached. I mean, we're on a decline here, where the highs keep getting lower. We had highs up here at 297, then we had a 295, then we had today at 294, and we crapped out, and we were starting to go lower. I put the position on at 119. So when we came down to 292, I was hoping that we would go back up and then come back down. So I was hoping that we were going to go up and then retouch 292, and I could exit, but we reached like 292.60 and we headed back up. So I just held overnight, which I think was a mistake. I think knowing that I'm not seeing the market as clearly as I shouldn't have done that. So I think that's going to be a learning experience there. Costco. Yeah, Costco, I think, what was the news the other day? They lowered guidance on sales. Earnings, they dipped down a little bit, but here we are back on Costco. I have been trading Costco over the last few months after it broke out to new 52-week highs, because it's been having some really nice movement. Even I didn't trade it yesterday. I actually don't think I've traded it this week. Yesterday had some nice movement. However, it looks like you had to get into the morning to make some money, and then today was just kind of the chart didn't really excite me, mainly because of the choppiness that we were having, and also being news could drop any minute. So I didn't want to get too involved with the market, knowing that we're having these trade talks. It's kind of like the Fed. It's like, how much, like if the Fed's going to be speaking today or tomorrow, how much do you want to risk? Like, how much do you want to put up? How much do you want to expose yourself to? And in this case, I think that this could make a run. I would like it to see come back to like 290 and then move its way back up to 300 and then above. You know, they already reported earnings. They missed earnings, but you know, in terms of guidance, I think that they're still looking pretty good. So we'll see what happens here. You know, I like that. I like that it has room to run here. It has 10 points to run, or like let's say 5 to 10 points to run. But you know, really needs to break this 300. It did try today, 299, and it was just level out. So let's see if we can get above 300. I think if it gets above 300, investors will pile in due to like FOMO. They don't want to miss out the next run. But today it was hitting 299 quite a bit. You know, 299.48, 299.30, 299.20, and then it just sold off the rest of the day. So we'll see. I mean, it kind of ran out of steam here, and volume dried up as well. So Kostak is a great stock to hold long term, 5 to 10 year hold. I mean, in terms of the company, I mean, I love what they do in terms of how they make their money and off the memberships, and how low profit margins they get off of each item. They're only selling each item at like 10%, 11% profit, and they make a lot of their money off the memberships and foot traffic. Thoughts on the worst streaming service? Grant, take it easy. Have fun at work. I guess have fun. I don't know if it's fun for you. Some people like their jobs. Some people don't. Thoughts on the worst streaming service? The worst streaming service? So I've had a Hulu subscription for probably 6 years, maybe 5 years, and I don't think I've watched it in 2 years. However, I still pay the $12 a month. So I think out of all the streaming services, I watch that one the least, even though I have a subscription. I do like HBO Go. I do like Netflix. I don't think Netflix is the worst. They have good content on Netflix. What other streaming services do I watch? I mean, I watch the Xfinity streaming service a lot because it ties in my cable subscription into a lot of the packages that I have. But I don't actually watch a whole lot of TV. I watch mainly like documentaries. So those are on HBO and Netflix. Amazon Prime, I think I'm the least interested in. I heard they have great shows, but I think Amazon Prime I'm the least interested in terms of stocks. I mean, streaming services. That $10 a month could go to a stock. Yeah, I should really cancel. What I'm probably going to do, Tan, I know you don't agree with this, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to bundle the Disney Plus with the Hulu and the ESPN and give Disney all my money and get the bundle. I like Netflix because of no commercials. Nobody has time for that. Yeah, I pay on Hulu. I pay the no commercial, whatever it is, for $12. Definitely worth it. But yeah, I mean, I don't like the commercials either. But I think inevitably, as TV subscriptions go down, they're going to introduce more ways to get money. I mean, Netflix doesn't really make money, you know. So Netflix. So this is one of the things. So volatility is back. If you look at 17, I also had to adjust VIX back down into the teens area. Yesterday I sold for a $50 loss. I had the 270 calls on Netflix because I thought we were going to rip up after this. So it dipped. I bought the 270 calls up in here, and I thought it was going to rip up, and it didn't. And I was like, okay, there's probably a 50-50 chance. The reason why I didn't hold overnight is because they had downgrades. Netflix had downgrades, and I'm like, okay, they sold off pretty big. They held, but they can go down again tomorrow. But then those 270 calls today, I sold them for like $2. I bought them for like $2.50. I sold them for $2, lost $50. And then, so I had the right trade idea. I bought them up in here for like 250. They came down. I sold them down here like $2, and as you can see, they did open a dollar. They hit a low of 156, but ripped up instantly and reached a high of $10 today. So in terms of Netflix, I mean, they have been selling off. I don't know what the catalyst is here. The only thing that I can see off of this chart here is that from this bottom here, if you want to call it that, it's bounced here in the past. If you look back in November, it's bounced and ripped up to like 298, which looks like it might want to do. So I'm kind of watching this area. Could definitely run to like the 298 area, which it kind of would to this high. So it really needs to break the 298 area for it to try to recover back into the 300s. But what I do see from this chart right here, it is starting to make some lower highs. So here's a low, and then here's a low, and it's starting to make lower highs. So, Delton, thank you for subscribing to Patreon. Definitely appreciate you. Thanks for supporting. I wasn't sure if I was going to get involved with Patreon, but a lot of people were asking, so I caved in, and I definitely appreciate the support. Thank you so much. I see everything while I'm streaming. So right now, in terms of the chart, I guess we should have paid attention that this was going to be another another low at 266, and we should have layered in. I didn't want to hold overnight, and then I felt pretty good about myself because overnight we did go down to like the 265 area, which wasn't that bad considering how much the stock market fell. So considering how much the stock market fell, Netflix yesterday only fell $2 after hours, and then, but you don't know. You have to. I'm like, okay, well, if I lose $50, it's better than losing $200 and losing like 50%, 75% if we have another downgrade and it goes back down to 250, because that was the real threat. Could have went down to like the 250s as well. Rolled over my SPY call spreads from last week to this week. It's not looking good. How high do you think SPY can go off this new China trade news? Josh, we talked about that in the beginning, where right now, and we've been talking about this for months, is right now it's all fluff. Like, no deal has been made. Nothing has happened yet. So, Trump does this all the time, where the market goes down, the market is struggling, and then he puts out a tweet or he puts out some information to try to jumpstart the market. And all we got was where is it? Here it goes. Dow rises more than 100 points after Trump tweet stokes trade deal hopes. I mean, nothing's happened. All the guy has said was, it's going well. Things are going well. Trade talks with China are going well. But nobody knows what that means. Keith, man, thanks for joining the Patreon. And you guys are incredible. I don't know why you guys like this channel so much, but I definitely appreciate it. And I definitely appreciate you guys coming in on my live streams day in, day out, showing love to the videos, commenting, liking, subscribing, that whole thing. Like, without you guys, this wouldn't be possible. I would just be sitting here trading by myself. I definitely enjoy that we have a community of people that we can bounce ideas off, because no one's ever going to see the market clearly, and that's why we kind of encourage, like, don't copy people's trades, do your own due diligence, because at the end of the day, it's you and the stock market. It's nobody else. You can't blame somebody else for risking your money. And I think that's a big strength for what we do versus other places. They sell stock trading alerts and they sell all this stuff. For us, we're trying to build real traders that are able to trade profitably. Maybe not at first, because when we first started trading, we all struggle. I mean, as you can see, I'm quite a few years in here and still struggling with weeks like this where we have, the weird news. But Josh, one thing that I do want to say about like SPY is really this is still descending. We really need to break this 295 level here for it to break out of this pattern. So if it can't break out at 295, right now we're at 294.33. I know we're getting close. And that's the thing about the stock market. It always tries to like push it to the limit. where your mental stop is and where the stops are. Algos, they don't have any feelings and they don't have any emotion, but they do try to take your stops out. They do try to take your mental stops out. So like at 295, Josh, right here, we really need to break above this. However, if we do with a lot of momentum, I mean, if there is a trade deal, unfortunately, I think we're going to 300. Let's say there is a trade deal. We're easily going to 300 within days or like within the day or within minutes that's announced. Like if we have a partial deal, we're easily going to go to 300. I mean, obviously that's a kind of, it's going to be a lot of momentum. It's going to be like a sell the rip type of moment where if people that bought up in here are trapped are going to sell, knowing that like a 300, 302 we've been having trouble. But if this gets above 302, 305, I mean, it could send us up into another rally, saying. And then the thing is, if there is a deal, the news media is going to start spinning that is, oh, we made concessions or we made a deal this time. What's to stop them from, making more concessions or more deals the next time they talk or next quarter? Does this mean even if they only just put like a freeze on tariffs, that could get us into the next rally? Right now, the market is really being held back on this trade deal. Oh, it showed Dalton. Have to change that. So deal will never be made. And the interesting thing is, what was that tweet the other day? Let me see here. If you guys aren't in our Discord, I am trying to add more bots here. We have the Trump tweet bot here, where we can search. You can actually search Trump's tweets. Well, I can't find it right now. I'll have to look at it. I'm not going to take too much of your time here. But a couple days ago, or was it yesterday, he said he's not looking for a partial deal. He's looking for a full deal. And right now, on the table, people are pitching a partial deal. But Trump says he's in no rush to make a deal. What was that? Here we go. This morning, big day of negotiations with China. They want to make a deal, but do I? I meet with the vice premier tomorrow at the White House. So it's like... what is that? What are you doing? There's a lot of junk in here that he tweets, but you have to kind of sift through it. I can try to see if I can censor some of this other stuff that he posts in here and try to just get stock related tweets, but it's kind of hard because he tweets like 8,000 tweets a day. So anyways. So yeah, I mean the deal, but right now this is descending pattern. I am bearish, but obviously with the news, anything can happen. Anything can happen. So, anyways, so that's kind of my spiel. We're at 33 minutes. Anything that you guys want to look at before I sign off? I definitely appreciate everyone that's been hanging out. Definitely. Appreciate Dalton, Keith. Thanks so much for joining the Patreon. We're going to be adding a bunch of stuff in there to make it more worthwhile. We'll still be doing live streams. We'll still be doing watch lists. We'll still be doing the same thing that we're doing. But if you wish to support, go for it. Tesla. Yeah, I could do Tesla. Tesla's been another one that's been kind of tough here after hitting the lows at 224. But after looking at here, what I see is it's in the same position it was yesterday. We looked at this. I do like the chart. However, the chart's obviously more bearish. And right here, it's been capping out like 248, 249 area. On November 11th, it did go up to 254 before being rejected, but it hasn't been above the 250 level since July 24th. So it really needs to break this like 248, 249, 250 level. It did try to do it today, but it just sold off. I mean, yes, Tesla is strong. It is aggressive. But if you're looking at the long-term chart here, it needs to break above. I mean, hopefully, what you would hope for. There's two scenarios that I think that could happen is if it were to close, let's say closer like 248 or so, it gaps up to 250, 252, and it runs to 260. That's one scenario. However, that's kind of a gamble. That could happen if we get a trade deal. But the other thing that could also happen, it could gap up above 250 and then fade back down into like the 245 area. So it seems to like this area on here, but we are above 240s. But this is technically rejection area. So you got to be careful. Raphael, Apple. So Apple, the thing about Apple is the last couple of days, they've been getting a lot of good press with the iPhone 11, and they had like 2 to 3 upgrades just this week, and they have earnings on, so October 30th. So they have earnings in 20 days, which we're looking at. So about 3 weeks away, they have earnings. So it's kind of interesting that they're getting these upgrades before earnings. It is running pretty hard here. It did make new all-time highs. It did get stopped out here. It hit 230 on October 7th. I haven't been trading it because of the Apple news. I mean, because of the trade war and the tariffs. So we really need to see what happens, because Apple is going to be impacted huge with a trade deal with China. If there is a trade deal with China, I mean, I think Apple honestly is probably being held back by no trade deal, because they make everything in China. All the phones, everything is made in China. So they're trying to make concessions with China, and you can see all the press that they're hiding the flags on the emojis in Hong Kong, and they're trying to, which a lot of Americans don't like, that that whole NBA thing with Hong Kong and freedom of speech and all that stuff. That's we're not going to try to get too political with the right or wrong here, but Apple did choose a side and all that, and it appears they chose China's side because that's where the money is being made, and that's where they are the most risk at. So really, it's dicey. This could pay big if there's no deal. We can go to 220, no deal, 220, but if there is a deal, it's definitely being held back. So that's what I mean by, from now on, I'm just not going to trade uncertainty. I'm only going to trade things that I have actual data to back up, because that's where I am the strongest trader. So, anyways, I'm about to jump off. We're at like almost 40 minutes. Definitely appreciate you guys. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Keith, again for the $25. Delton, Keith, thanks for joining the Patreon. You guys all have a great day. As always, stay safe, stay green. It's us versus herd.